Let's go on an informative drill, so to speak, with a man who has a thrill to drill, all in the name of making everyone money. That's Dallas, Texas-based Petron Energy 2. The company's CEO, Floyd Smith, makes a return trip back to New York City on New to the Street to talk Earl oil. Same thing, Floyd. You've been here before, but since then, we've had a new, bigger audience. Some people might not be familiar with you and Petron Energy 2. So I ask you to play history teacher for a couple of minutes. Fill us in. What's going on?
Ken, first of all, it's a pleasure to be back with you and New to the Street. Our company has been pretty busy. If you look from a historical perspective, our management team represents north of 100 years experience when it comes to oil and gas development. At our core, we are a company that's centrally focused on secondary recovery as a company. And what that essentially means is we are a company that likes to go after old, proven, but yet depleted reservoirs, depleted of their pressure, not natural resources. And typically in secondary recovery type operations, when you're engaging these old pressure depleted reservoirs, primary production has already been established. You typically have removed 15 to 20% of the in-place oil. And then the opportunity that we're more interested in secondary recovery, by repressurizing these old depleted reservoirs, we have an opportunity to remove another 15 to 20% of the in-place original oil that's there. That's what we do.
As a guesstimation for this depleted oil and the old oil wells that have been used, what is the fiscal potential that Petron Energy can get from using these depleted fields?
Well, really, we see the opportunity as somewhere around a 4 or 5 times return. It could certainly be higher on the investment capital that we're putting forth to develop out the operation.
Now, when you last spoke with us on New to the Street, you shared with us that you were looking to finalize procedures on the Snyder-Simon lease. Are there any updates with what's going on with that?
There are, and I tell you, it's a lease that we have totally finished with the developmental operations. The engineering design that we put forth calls for about 1,000 barrels of salt water being injected in order to repressurize the reservoir. We're injecting about 500 barrels right now. We'll gradually increase that number up. But we're really excited about this particular lease. It's one of 3 that we have planned for this year because it really will represent for us the first lease that will give us sustained production. It will allow us to also grow or improve our asset base because of the improvement in reserves that we expect to gain.
Floyd, can you take us 6 months out right now? Where do you see daily production rates trending for Petron 6 months, and if you can, going forward beyond that?
Well, what our team and I are looking at are the short-term goals that we've set forth, those 5 wells and additional wells that we have an opportunity to bring online. But within the next 6 months, we not only will have the Snyder-Simons lease in place, we'll also have the Edwards lease, which is the second of 3 leases. And then the third and final lease to be put online sometime during the first quarter of 2015 would be the Redder. But by the end of the first quarter, we're looking to have our production, we're estimating it to be somewhere between 250 to 300 barrels of oil per day, with those particular assets being the primary focus of that production growth. One other thing that I will add as well, if you do the math, we have a total of 26 leases. So if you looked at a very conservative number, 26 leases, and we average 35 barrels of oil a day, companies looking at daily production growth to be somewhere around a little north of 900 barrels per day. And at $90 a barrel, it's a pretty good sized company.
So there's a lot of fiscal hope for Petron going forward.
Without question. It's a very conservative game plan, one that we think has a lot of potential for upside.
So last but not least, we want to break things up a little bit here at New to the Street. Rather than telling me the story, I want you to look into that camera over there. It's camera 3. That's Howie. But focus on the camera. The camera is the portal to the world of people watching you. and learning about you and the company.
Sure.
Tell them about Floyd Smith.
Well, at my core, I'm an oil and gas guy. And I think one of the greatest and unique aspects of Floyd Smith is the integrity of myself as a CEO. I love the oil and gas space. I'm committed to shareholder value and improving the values of PEII's balance sheet. That's critically important. But I think this game plan that I've put together is one that is based on conservative principles, and it allows me an opportunity in executing that game plan to create a lot of value not only for our shareholders, but my family as well. And at my core, you know, it's about being conservative in those principles and being smart about how I approach principles today. And, you know, I'm a family man. I've been married for 30 years, 3 children to 1 wife, I might add. And we're overall committed to our shareholders. And I'm a very loyal guy, very disciplined guy. But you cannot find a more committed CEO of a company that's willing to make the tough calls when they have to be made, as well as enjoy the benefits that come from running a successful company. I think at my core, those represent some of the key components of who Floyd Smith is.
Well said, Floyd. I hope you come back to us on New to the Street and keep us up to date on what's going on.
Ken, it would be my pleasure. I've always enjoyed these opportunities that we have to come and update the audience on Petron Energy 2, and certainly look forward to it in the future.
Okay. To learn more about Petron Energy 2, you can visit PetronEnergyII.com.